Welcome back to Kicking It with Kenya. So, obviously, this news, when we all found out, we lost a champion, we lost a great role model, we lost a father. I don't even know how to. When we lost Kobe Bryant, and that was news that shocked the world. It happened unexpectedly, and I just felt like there were different conversations even surrounding his death, like that kind of wanted me to talk about on the show. Like not focus so much at the loss, because it was tragic. But it's like the different conversations that sparked from it on social media, like when people were mourning or like how people mourn and media and how they played into the reveal of his death and things like that. Just I don't know, for some reason like the Kobe Bryant loss kind of showcased really where we are as a society, like the humanity part of it a little bit. Like like the understanding portion of people, and like even though we don't know him, like giving room for people. I don't know, it just kind of showed it's crazy the different conversations that surround it. So like, how did y'all feel where were y'all? That's kind of one of them stories where you gotta be like, I remember the day. Right. Like 9/11, I remember where I was. I remember the day. Like it kind of feels like that. Like even with Nipsey Hussle, I remember where I was even here when he passed. Well, not tragically was taken. But it's just like, how did that?
Well, yeah. It was pretty much a week ago from today. We were over at my dad's church. He had some harvest service. He has it every year, and we're getting ready to leave. I'm helping take down some decorations, and one of the musicians that were over at the church, who happens to be my friend, he pulls me aside and he's like, yo, man, I just got worried. This is crazy, but Kobe Bryant just passed away. I looked at him like, come on, man. And I walked away because everybody know clickbait, Yeah. And I'm a huge sports fan. I have Bleacher Report. I have ESPN. I follow Adrian Woj on Twitter. I'm all over the place.
So you don't see it.
I know when something's happening. I know. She knows that. I get the alerts. So no alerts. So I'm just, okay. Yeah, I walk by him. I come back, and he's teary-eyed now, looking at me like, yo, listen, Kobe's gone.
To everybody.
And he said it to everybody.
I was like, you're lying. You're lying.
I told her, I believe, and no, she told me.
No, he said it out loud in front of everybody because he was getting ready to cry. Exactly. And then I said, okay, first, I got to check the Shade Room or TMZ.
Yeah. And it's sad.
And then I instantly saw it. I said, you're lying. People just started crying.
Nah.
Literally in church.
And
everybody was crying.
It was the worst. I know how I felt because Kobe, my family's a huge basketball family. So my mom's favorite player was Kobe Bryant. You know what I'm saying? So this is like, it hit hard. You know what I'm saying? It hit hard. Her jersey right now, she's rolling her grave right now. She's upset. You know what I'm saying? But I remember where I was. It sucks. Yeah, I remember where I was.
Well, I was at church.
Well, I'm going to say, I was doing my taxes. And I had a couple homies hit me up. This is right after LeBron passed Kobe Bryant for points. Mm-hmm. So my friend hits me up and was like, yo, Kobe dead? I'm thinking it's like a play on that. Like, come on, man. And then another person hits me up like, yo, is this Kobe Bryant death true? I'm like, hold on a second. Let me Google something. So I go to Google. I don't see nothing. Sports Center, they showing the games. Like, this shit ain't real. If this is real, this should be everywhere. And then about I'm going back to my taxes. 3 more, my phone starts blowing up. And I'm just like, why everyone on me? Let me turn on. And then I go to CNN. I see it on CNN. I see it on TMZ. But I don't see it nowhere else. I'm like, maybe it's false reporting here. And then I see it on CNN. I'm on denial. I'm going to the channels. I'm like, I'm waiting for Sports Center. Sports Center would have this.
Exactly.
It comes across the screen. Like, no. And I'm going on Twitter. I'm like, this would be trending. And as it starts pouring in, I'm just sitting here like, nah. I'm no. Like, no. I'm just like, nah, this ain't happening to me. And then I'm like, as soon as it came on like NBA TV, I'm just sitting there the whole time. Like, I was like in shock because I'm just like, how? Like, yo, we was just talking about him yesterday with the LeBron thing and all of this.
My sister was crying.
Yeah. And then as it started coming in, and I'm just sitting there like, it still doesn't even feel real to me today.
It's the funeral that'll make it real for me.
Just from the standpoint of how like people, I feel like sometimes people look at like when a celebrity in general dies and how some people react like, you didn't know them. Why are you crying for them? And for me personally, man, listen, Kobe Bryant,
go off
for
Louis.
Me.
You the fan.
Tell him.
Kobe is probably my favorite all-time athlete, period. Like, ever. Like, as a kid, when I was a kid, my whole family was Knicks fans. So they would watch the games and the Bulls games. I liked Jordan, but I didn't like the Bulls, but I liked Jordan. So I would watch, and I wasn't into it like that. But it was Kobe that really, really got me into basketball to where I am now. And I became a hardcore Laker fan. Going to elementary school when him and Shaq were winning and just arguing with, nah, Iverson is better. Nah, Mac, nah, Vince Carter. And we having these debates throughout the years when LeBron and Melo and Durant and all these players come. So for 20 years, this was a constant for me. When I was 9, you know what I'm saying? Like, just a constant every single. I got to go see the man play multiple times, and I'm so happy I did. So I got to watch him play. Of course I got his merchandise and his jerseys and all of that stuff, but just by how the man went about how he approached the game, as far as the thing I always liked about him was never making the excuses, you know what I'm saying? Like, wanting to prove something. Like, this man had 3 championships with Shaq, and he pushed an all-star out of LA to prove I can do this. You know what I'm saying? People try to push stars to you. He pushed an all-star away because y'all kept saying, you can't win without Shaq. You can't win without Shaq. So I want to prove that I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I relate to that mentality in terms of just wanting to be the best that you can be and show people what you're capable of when they are shitting on you. You know what I'm saying? So for me personally, his death touched me. And it hit me even harder when they announced that Gigi, his daughter, was on the plane.
Oh God, that was like
so for me, it's just like I feel like with so many people that I know aren't Laker or Kobe fans, but they are touched by it because I feel like as a human being, you can have empathy for just another human being's passing. But then if you're a father, you can feel the sympathy for, another father being on a helicopter with his daughter. There's nothing that as a father, I would assume, like, I'm not a dad, but I would assume that's probably a father or parent's biggest fear. Like, there's nothing you can do to prevent this. And all you can do is just comfort them until the inevitable happens. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and then just to know that this young girl who's very good in her own right at basketball, who had a bright future, and all the other lives that were on the plane. You know what I'm saying?
All the other players.
Everyone else that was on the helicopter. It's just death is sad in general. So, when it's a sports figure, of course you're going to have people that look at it like he's just a sports figure. But for me, it's just like, listen, I could lose family that's blood that I didn't know that well. And they could be blood, but I didn't have a relationship with them, so I didn't know you, so that connection's not there. And then you could lose people that's not blood. Like when I lost my boy Jay Black, blood wouldn't make us no closer. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he had an effect on my life. So naturally, his death would too. With Kobe Bryant, he had an effect on my life. He was one of the probably the most constant thing. It's like, for me being a kid to now, that I looked up to in terms of that I was a fan of. The only thing that rivals that was Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson is another case. So with Kobe, I shed a tear for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this was my favorite athlete.
I know. Period. I called you.
Yeah, I know. I put my phone down because everyone kept calling me like it was someone, my family that died. So I'm put my phone to the side. Damn. But then with him, I put up a status, and I wanted to say this. I put up a status on Facebook. with his picture, and I'm just like, salute. And then I had some people like, when throwing those subliminals, like, oh, people when the athlete dies and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, I ignored it. I didn't say nothing. But then I had a girl come to me on some like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really tearing up over someone you don't know. And I had time that day. So I'm like, you know what?
We're going to entertain this today.
I said, first of all, yeah, we're going to talk about this. Because she's like, I can't relate to this. I'm like, you can't relate.
It's not about
She's
you.
like, I can't really relate to crying over someone that I don't really know personally. And I even said this to you. I said, it's funny. We saw Avengers Endgame together.
Yes, we did.
I seem to remember you tearing up when Iron Man snapped. Iron Man isn't even real. Yet you've seen people in the whole theater crying over his death, over Rick Grimes' death in The Walking Dead, over the spoiler alert, my bad. But over TV shows, period. Characters die. You cry. Oh my God. They're not even real. They're fake. They're not real people. The actors are still here. But why are you crying over this fictional character? Because this fictional character's growth touched you in a way, right?
Yeah.
Because you watched Iron Man since Iron Man 1. Because you watched The Walking Dead since season 1. Because you watched Ghost since season 1. So you feel like you relate to this character that isn't even real. That's how I feel about this celebrity that is actually real that I relate to. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you don't have to be, as a fan of someone. Like when Chester Bennington died, my boy's a huge Linkin Park fan. I know that affected him in a way. I didn't relate to him on that level because I didn't listen, but I could still have empathy. This is a man that still died. Robin Williams, so many celebrity deaths. Right. You don't have to be a fan just to have another human being died in a tragic way that was totally unexpected.
Yeah, like I feel like all of us have that one celebrity that if they passed away, like I tell Louis all the time, like, if something happened to Dave Chappelle, somebody better check on me.
Yo.
Cause like anybody who know me, know I am a Dave fan. Mm-hmm. And it would crush me if he just died. Because it's like, no, not my favorite comedian that I watched from like when he was on Def Comedy Jam too. Like all that stuff. Like I watch like every Dave movie. I love Dave Chappelle. So if he was like to just go, like that would be like one like, oh, that hurt. Or like Martin, like, oh, not Martin. You know how many family gatherings we had around Martin? Like
I was sad about John Witherspoon. Though.
I was just about to bring him
up. You know what's crazy? That right there brought me to straight tears. Okay, because I used to watch him doing stand up. I used to watch him doing roasts. Because back in the day, they used to have roasts of different, influential people, especially when they had the roast for, I forgot who it was. It was somebody, I think it was Red Fox or somebody. No, it was Richard Pryor. It was a roast for Richard Pryor, and he was roasting him. And from that moment, I was like, yo, this guy is like funny. From movie to movie to movie, he's captivating. Even the Wayans brothers, that whole series, he made it funny. You know what I'm saying? Boomerang. Yeah. Right? Mushroom Belt with Friday. Exactly. Coordinate.
Like, I remember somebody said, like, John Witherspoon was like
the black dad.
The black dad. He was our 90s dad.
He was the black sitcom dad.
He was one of our black dads. That's why everybody called him Pops.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a fact.
He literally was our black dad. And, like, to see him go kind of left a weird void. It was just, like, I think it was rumors about a Boondocks remake. Yeah, and it's like, how was it supposed to happen now?
Well, somebody had said on Twitter that Jennifer Lewis should play his sister.
Yeah, I feel like they got
a character off, and Jennifer Lewis should take his place. I think that would be the best person to take his place.
Right.
But you see, I don't want to say it like this. R.I.P. to both of them. Yeah. But with John Witherspoon, because of his age, it was something that people were even saying, "Yo, Ice Cube, you gonna make a new Friday while John's still here?" Da 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 da. Like, you kind of like, it's like when your grandparents unfortunately go, it's something that you begin to prep for as they get older.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. When it happens with someone that's like, Kobe was 40, 41. You know what I'm saying? So when it's someone, even with Michael, though there was some essence of like self-destruction, people say, but he was about to go on tour the next day.
Prince was out of nowhere.
Prince was just out of the blue.
That's someone.
There was no warning. No,
I teared for Prince because that's someone who I wanted to meet. Like I was literally like, it's my dream to meet musical icons.
Right.
And he is one of those icons that I wanted to meet more than anything.
And then boom.
It's taken away. Kobe, wanted to meet him. I've seen him play over at the Barclays before, but I never got to like really be like close to him, like in proximity where it's like, oh my God, that's Kobe Bryant. But I seen him ball. He ripped the championship from my Celtics.
Yeah, y'all ripped it from us first.
Exactly. But he was the best competitor, okay? So I feel for you, bro. My mom has a Kobe, damn near I almost buried her with the Kobe Bryant jersey. That's how real it was. So I understand. Black Mama is forever going to be remembered, and he was taken away from us too soon. Mamacita had a huge, promising, future. Like, she had a future. Like, she really had a future. She had the gene in her.
I think that was the basketball gene that he always wanted.
Yeah. Gianna had the basketball gene in her. She had it. And
she was good.
Taken away too early.
I just think that people are kind of like little sociopaths or narcissists. For you to say, oh, why are you crying over celebrity? Oh, now everybody want to be Lakers fan. Why are you making it about you?
See, I'm a Celtics fan.
You gotta have empathy. Like, another human being passed away. And
a wife has to
and
bury
then
a
me
mother
being a parent.
Yeah.
It's what me and him had just did a YouTube video on this subject too. Me being a parent, I can relate to that. No, I'm not a sports buff. I grew up watching Kobe because I like basketball, but I'm not familiar with the stats and all of that. But me being a parent in that moment, you would risk your life for your child. So in that moment, I'm thinking you're in the helicopter. You realize something is going wrong. You cannot help and comfort your child. So you're literally in fear for your child and for yourself. That made me so freaking emotional because as a parent, you want to take the pain away from your kid. All you can do is hug your kid.
Yeah.
In that moment, like, that's terrible. It's terrible for anybody to talk negatively about him, bringing up his past, talk negatively about his child or his wife. It's terrible of people to do something like that.
Yeah, and it's like even like
that's trash. People are out. People are
even
trash.
like the exposure of his death by TMZ before the police could even tell his wife. That's what I mean by
TMZ.
But that's what I mean by like this kind of made me show it. Like this was tragic, but it's like the human part of humanity is like drifting where you want to click so bad. You couldn't let these cops sit there and tell this man's wife that not like her, they didn't even know all the bodies. We still figuring it out when they exposed that.
Rick Fox.
They said that.
Yeah.
How you killing people off?
But my thing is, and then with that, the mere fact that we have to ask ourselves, is this true? Because you know how many fake news stories came out about people dying before they died? Like, which is sad where we are right now. Like, it's just sad. Like, but TMZ to do something like that, like, that was not journalism. I wouldn't have wanted to be the first until I verified if, in that moment, I didn't want the scoop. If it was me, in that moment, I wouldn't want it.
And I think that's what took so long for the news to actually come out.
To verify,
had a lot of people verifying.
Yeah.
Like,
I think in that moment, I wouldn't have wanted to be the first until I knew, because this woman was aware and that she was prepared to see everything that followed once it came out. And like when y'all talked about celebrity deaths, like for me, the first celebrity death that took me was Aaliyah. Like she was young. It was plain. And I was like, what, in middle school? And I'm just like, in that moment, I'm like, we're not invincible. I knew death, but like when Aaliyah went down like that, and then a few months later, we lost Left Eye to a car crash. I'm like, to me, that was like when I kind of had like, wow, you could really get taken out.
And I think for a lot of kids in this generation, that's what Kobe's death is to them.
Right.
With him, it's kind of that similar thing. For me personally, I one thing I will say when it comes to death, I don't process death very well, especially when it's like even like people look at me as a person like, oh, Louis is someone that's a good talker, a good listener. I talk to him about my issues. He gives me good advice, things like that. But when it comes to death, because it's so like final, like for me, it's just always like I don't know what to say. Like when my grandfather died, for me, I didn't process it until the funeral. Because that's when in my mind, it's like, wow, I'm never going to get, and I start thinking about things. But one thing I do always say that I like, and especially with us, when my grandfather died and I was at the wake and all my family members started coming up and just telling these stories and these funny stories about when I met your grandfather when he was this big and da-da-da-da-da-da, and things I didn't even know. And we all can have these laughs and these memories and these good moments. And it kind of, in that moment, it just takes us to a better place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I that's what I like about how the NBA's reacted with Kobe, where you hear a lot of players saying, listen, he wouldn't want me to tell that. And they're telling their stories about their experiences that people in media never knew and never reported on because it was never out there. The Make-A-Wish and all of these charity things that people didn't know about him, which is why I think a lot of people even pointed out, like, you know, Kobe was a fierce competitor. Like I say, a lot of people to say the same things. Like, listen, as a fan, I respected him, but I hated him because he would always crush my team or da-da-da-da when he played. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people even said, like, when he was nearing the end, you started to see, like, him open up more than he ever did. And you saw more of his life and more of his personality that he didn't show in his earlier days. Like, whereas LeBron, like, is someone that you see his personality on the court. You see Dwight Howard's. Kobe never was like that. So I feel like with a lot of players, it's like, yo, we just started to see what he was growing into. And it touched me when Shaq even said, when Shaq was giving his tribute, and when he started tearing up, when he was like, yo, I'm not going to be able to joke with him at the Hall of Fame about, yo, I got this. We could have got this. I'm not going to be able to call, like Ice Cube even said, I called him to see if he'd answer. I did the same thing when I heard Jay Black died. The first thing I did was call him, and I called him just to see if he'd answer. So for me personally, I feel like whenever you're processing that, when Shaq said, you know, when he was with Barkley and them, he looked at them and he said, you know, he started crying. He's like, yo, I don't tell you guys I love you as much as I do. You know, I work a lot and I don't see. That hit me because there's so many in that moment that made me feel how I feel even with my own family, where it's like you get so wrapped up in your everyday life. You just take for granted that I'm going to see you again. You take for granted that I'm going to the store. I'll be right back. I don't know if I'll be back. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to work. I don't know if I'll be back. I'll see you later. I don't know if I'll see you later. It could always be the last time you see somebody. And then that's why when it happens, like, I just was with him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
the shocker that I can't get over.
Like, it's like
I just spoke to you.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part.
And that's how, like, even with, like, when my father passed, like I wrote a status because I saw all these videos. I never saw Kobe, but his daughters. Like, all the things he do and the kissing. And I'm like, and all of this, I just hope that they find peace to at least say that they were grateful to have a father that loved them.
It's no closure.
It's never closure. Because even with me, like, when I lost, and you know, you went through it too, losing my dad, like, it's always going to feel like a hole. But it's like, the thing that makes me feel like I could get through it is the fact that I was fortunate enough to have a father that loved me, that provided so much knowledge and that was there all the time. There are people out there who don't have that and can never say that they had a girl dad, you know? So it's like, you're never going to get over it. But I just hope that with time, like, those girls could at least find like peace in knowing that they had a loving father who loved, like, them videos are so
his
beautiful.
Kid
She's not going to remember him.
She just turned
But
one.
like Louis said, hopefully, I think the thing that makes us live forever is the conversations you have and the memories you don't let go.
But it's something about losing a parent. I don't know, like, the three of us can relate to that. But when my mom passed away, it's approaching 2 years now, I couldn't remember any memory. For some strange reason, like, we lived in the same house. I always had my mother there. My mind just went blank for a very long time. I'm just now starting to remember the things. I don't know, but I'm just starting to really mourn her, and it's going on almost 2 years. Well, it's weird. I was blank for a long time.
You're always going to mourn because it's like, remember, that's like a defensive, man. Like, when you lose somebody close, like, even with my father, like, I didn't want to think about him because it would make me cry. So I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want a lot of things because, you know, you have to process and stuff like that. But it's like, when you're in a good space, I feel like the mind allows you to revisit those moments, because now you could step there and kind of smile a little bit.
Can I just say, I think that, and I've seen, like, I have people I know, you two, and I have like a couple of friends I know that unfortunately dealt with losing a parent, and even my sister. I will always say, like, when my grandfather died and my mom got the news, and she immediately broke down and just hugged me. It didn't hit me as soon as it hit her, like I said, until the funeral. But what did hit me was just the thought of, like, this is my mom's dad. And we lost my grandmother earlier, so this is her parent. And when we were at the funeral and you see the casket go down, and my uncles and my moms were at the front, and I was more towards the back. But I just kept thinking from the standpoint of, I'm losing my grandfather that I've known my whole life. But they're losing parents that they've known 40, 50 years, their whole lives. And I thought to myself, even when my mom will say things to me like, if something happened to me, I always say,
don't want to talk.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just my reaction.
Yeah.
She's just being responsible. And I know that, and I understand, like, we're all going to go, but that's just my immediate reaction. So I remember listening to a Papoose song, and this is when K Slay's mom died, and he had a lyric where he said, you a better man than me, nigga, because the day I lose my moms, I'm going with her. And I thought about that, and I said, I process death differently, but I think that's a death I don't know if I would be able to deal with.
I'm going to tell you,
like,
right now, bro.
You never know how strong you are until something like that happens.
My mom passed away in 2010. So, trust me, nobody is never prepared. There's never anything that's going to prepare you for that loss.
No.
And there's nothing that is going to repair you from that loss. It's going to take time. And that's the only thing that you should pay attention to is time. Because as long as you taking the time to heal those wounds and, speak to somebody about it or talk to someone about it, like our therapy, whichever, that's going to help out the situation. But it's a wound is going to never go away.
No, it's
never going to go away.
I self-medicated for a while.
I self-medicate all the time.
Yeah, no, I did. Until I was not popping pills, but I had anxiety, depression, but I was also drinking. Yeah. Just so I could be numb to just playing the funeral.
My mom's funeral, I had shades on. I remember it now more than I did before, because at that time it's like you're numb. There's so much going on, but you're numb. You can't necessarily focus, but you're focusing. It's like you're on autopilot.
Right. That's exactly how it is. Like, and then you're getting used to your new normal. So when I was on a date and he was like, "Oh, so what's the locket about?" I'm like, "Oh, it's my dad's initials," and you just saying the words, he passed away. Like, you got to get used to that new normal of saying the words. He's going, like, my dad passed away.
I do it, and maybe I shouldn't do it. I guess it's a defense mechanism, because I went to Costco, and I'm using my mom's Costco card, and it has a picture, and he flipped it on, he was like, "Oh, is this your mom? Oh, you can't use the card." I said, "She's dead." He was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." But I kind of laughed a little bit. I don't know why. Sometimes it's like a defense mechanism.
It is.
It takes some time to get used to. And then I have a daughter, and she's fully aware that her grandma's not there. So that's another person I have to
And then me wanting to have kids, I have to explain you're not going to meet your grandfather. Like,
it's hard.
It's all over around tough. And it's like, this is why, and it's crazy how having a conversation about Kobe, it brings those connections back, which is why I don't understand why people can't understand how certain people, even if you've never met them, has an influence. Like, I told Louis, even with Bill Cosby, the death of Heathcliff Huxtable, but what happened with Bill. That was everybody's TV dad. And then here now you got a parallel, and when they took his show off, you took a lot of people's heart away. People build connections with people on TV. This is why I'm not knocking people for having kids watch television, but make sure the quality of television is good and will impact them in the right way, because TV and media have influences to how you're going to turn out, what you're going to want to be when you get older. There's plenty of people be like, I wanted to be a doctor because I saw Bill Cosby's character.
Representation
matters. You can't avoid it. So it might as well lean in with the right tools. Like Louis clung to Kobe. There's some people clinging to bad stuff, you know? Like, people cling to people. Like I said, I cling to Dave. I don't know why, I just love Dave Chappelle. Like,
and the sad part is it's sad that people can't have empathy, because the one thing as humans we can all relate to is death.
Yeah.
We will all experience.
But those are the same people that would cry if a dog got hit by a car.
And I'm not mad at that.
But you don't have no sympathy. I'm saying, but you don't have sympathy for an actual human being.
Right.
That's what be getting on my nerves sometimes. Like, come on now.
Yeah. At the very least, I feel like I just hope with this Kobe thing, with what happened with the news, with TMZ or whatever, like, they really start taking more precautions and, like, understanding that humans, like, like, making sure that stop being the first. Some things don't need to be rushed. Some things need to be handled with a little grace and dignity. And also, like, I hope generating this conversation about his past, like, sometimes you gotta let that go. He's dead. He can't talk. He can't defend. So let it go. Like, just the humanity part within this. I just hope with these conversations that it shined the light on how we're lacking that. And hopefully with time, it'll get better. Because, like, it's not going to be the last celebrity death. I thought we had time to process after Nipsey.
I was thinking, like, by the time I get up there and I make it, it's like, oh my God, like, who else is I'm not going to be able to meet and, like, them help me and give me advice. Because you hear all of these stories, like a lot of the celebrities that have passed, a lot of artists and entertainers are coming, oh my God, they were my mentor. Oh my God, they helped me. Oh my God, they helped me to be who I am today. And it's like, man, I would love to sit across from Prince.
I would love to
have lunch with Michael.
Or I want to meet Issa Rae
what
right
I'm
now.
saying? Like, really pick their brains and them really like help me. Like,
I'd love to pick Prince's brain.
But it's like, we can't do
what
that.
What do you think is a dope bass line? How do you feel about this sound? What do you feel about this? Should we arpeggiate this or no? Should we modulate this key? How do you feel about that? Right. There's so many questions I would ask this man, but I don't. No one's going to have that chance anymore.
No.
Same thing as Kobe. Like, how did you do that? And you know what really related to me, like what really hurt me the most is, the year that my mom passed away was 2010. And wasn't that the year that you guys got it from us? Exactly. Guess what happened? Before she passed away, she took her oxygen mask off and said Kobe. Kobe went nuts in the fourth quarter and y'all got the chip from us.
I think like all of this, like, so
yeah, it's everything's connected. It's a tragic passing, but everyone feels their connection to Kobe and to death, and everyone's gonna have to deal with that part in their life when it comes to it. And there's no right way. There's literally no right way. The only way to do is to press forward and keep moving. Yeah. That's the best thing.
So hopefully with this conversation, it sparks. I know we say this every time somebody dies, but it's like you have people in your life, show them love while they're here, give them their flowers while they're here, hug them, spend time with them, because it's inevitable. We're all going to eventually go. But it's like you want to have those memories that you could cling on to so you can press forward. Send out love to Vanessa Bryant and the family and all of the victims and the tragedy. And until next time, peace and love.